What's going on, everybody? Thanks again for joining me today on the Say What You Want podcast. I had to come to you guys because once again, your president, our president, is at the same bogus stuff he's been up to since he got in office. And I don't know if you guys are paying attention to the news, or I'm tired of this whole virus situation that's going on, to be honest with you, but this has to be said. And I knew this was going to come. I knew at a point in time this was going to come, because if you know the type of person Trump is, he's the type of person who does not like when another person is, one, correct, or two, tries to overshadow him or contradict what he says. And if you guys been paying attention, who am I talking about? Dr. Fauci, who we know is the guy that we need to listen to. He's a very important piece to this. Why? Because he's the top infectious doctor. So he knows this. He does this for a living. He's been doing it for years. So when he says you need to do this, this, and this in order for this thing to come to a curve or whatever we need to do, that's who I'm listening to. Once he got in the picture, I was like, oh, this guy's an important character. I need to listen to him. I think everybody said that. Matter of fact, they even said on the thing, everybody's rooting for Fauci. Because you know what? He's being blunt. He's being honest to the people. He's keeping it real, as we say. He's keeping it real with the people. Trump don't like it. Now, all of a sudden, if you watch the headlines come Sunday, oh, fire him now. Why fire him? Because he's giving us what we needed to know. And the crazy thing, he said exactly what Bill Gates been yelling, what everybody else been yelling. And come to find out, if you watch that movie Pandemic, they said it. If you would have jumped on this ahead of time, Bill Gates visited Trump twice once he reached presidency, telling Trump, get in front of the ball. This pandemic is coming. He ignored it. The same time Trump was meeting with all the other famous people when he got in office, Bill Gates took time out to go meet with him. Told him, look, another pandemic's coming. We're following the research. We're following everything, history repeats itself, as people say. He didn't want to listen. So now we're up in this situation. He don't know what to do. The gentleman that knows why and how all this happened is like, look, this is why, guys. This is why. He didn't jump on it fast enough. I'm sorry. So now you guys gotta follow my lead and follow my rules, and let's just go and make this thing disappear. Or do what we could to curve this thing the best way we know how. See, but Trump didn't want to get in and allocate the money where it needed to be allocated. He didn't want to do that. Instead, he wanted to pussyfoot around, I hate to say it like that, and not jump when he should have jumped. And they knew about this months ago. Years ago when Trump first got in office, they told him. Bill Gates went and told him, you need to do something now. So when that time comes, we will be well prepared. If you watch that movie Pandemic, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. I advise everybody to go see that. Listen closely to what these doctors and nurses and everybody that witnessed influenza and all the other triple E and all the other different situations we had over the years. They're following the strands. They're following the diseases. That's what they do. That's what they get paid for. So why you as a president think you could come in office and not listen to the people that have been studying this stuff for years? Their whole entire job is to keep the U.S. soil safe. Keep the people safe from the viruses, not only here, but cross country that get here. But instead, he didn't listen. And now we're behind the 8 ball. And now he's realizing that, oh, you know what? It's affecting everything and everybody. And everybody's looking to him for an answer. And he don't know what to tell them. So he tell everybody some bogus stuff. While this gentleman gets up there on the podium, he says, you know what? No. He shouldn't have said that. This is the facts. This is what it is. You need to stay in place. This is what you need to do. We're not sure when this is going to be over. We're trying to figure it out. He's like, you know what? And Trump trying to come up talking about, we got a cure and all this. For one, a virus cannot be cured. That is a fact. It can't be cured. So you don't have a cure. You probably going to make something that's going to pull the edge off the thing, but you ain't got a cure for it. So stop with the cure. Okay? 2, you're not a doctor. So don't go up here trying to act like you are. Leave it to the professionals. You know what I mean? Your job is your job. Everybody has a job. That's why you hired him. You hired him to do his job, and now he's doing his job. Now it's like, oh, no, I'm not going to allow you to do your job, so I'm going to get rid of you, and I'm going to take over because you're not agreeing with what I'm saying. You're not following my lead. Well, if your lead is wrong, should I follow your lead? Should the blind lead the blind, or should the man that see lead the blind? We can't all be 3 blind mice. Somebody got to be able to see to guide the way. When you think about religion, people follow God. That's their way. So not to say Fauci is God, but he's the closest thing to getting us out of this situation when it comes to the medical industry, when it comes to infectious diseases. So why would you go fire him? To hire somebody else that's going to come in and say the same thing or a little bit more on top of what their research is telling them? And then you're going to feel like, you know what? No, I'm not listening to you either. Get him out of here. Do you know that everybody that he had in office since this whole thing, since he got in office, everybody's been fired. Everybody around him. Now let's take that into consideration when you talk about a gang. If everybody in the gang is found guilty and all of a sudden you're not guilty and you the head of the gang, how does that work? Everybody around them gone, in jail, facing charges, this, that, and the third. But I don't know him. Look at Epstein. Didn't know him. Oh, we weren't cool. Every time somebody goes down for something, oh, we ain't cool. I wasn't part of them. It don't work like that. It don't work like that. Everybody knows that. So if you know that he just want to bounce around when he feel like it because he loves power. People in high positions love power, but they abuse their power. And this is the reason why they were talking about all the impeachment situations a couple months ago that somehow he got out of. And now, look, we get it to this pandemic. We got a gentleman that is here to try to get everybody on the right track to get this thing over with. Everybody's ready. And sorry, Trump, is not your way, your guidelines. Is his guidelines that he done did the study and did the research for. So why would I have to listen to someone who never did a day in medical field when you're talking about diseases and everything over a person that spends their whole career life breathing, sleep, eat, and breathing this? I think we got a surefire bet with this guy. I don't think he's here to steer us wrong. I mean, we can't be stirring no more wrong than we already are. We already in a situation now that we don't know how the hell we're going to get out of. You know what I mean? This is the new normal, period. Because one thing I'm certain about, this ain't going to be, we don't know when they're going to open up the floodgates and say, all right, everything's clear to go. And even when they say everything's clear to go, I guarantee you that, I'm sorry, it still might be a situation at the end of the day. It still might be. Or it might come to a point where, okay, clear to go. Couple months later, a new strain of virus comes in. Because every year there's a flu season. That's why they call it a flu season. They're trying to follow the strands to see if what they're doing and trying to stay ahead of the curves of these strands so they can know, all right, we got to do this and this and this to try to cure the people before it gets crazy. But for him to always, as soon as somebody doesn't do what he likes, for him to always go and say, you know what, get him out of here. Hashtag fire Fauci. Like, come on. And how many people you think gonna say, you know what, you're right? This is why people in his own cabinet don't deal with him, because it's like, look, soon as we don't agree with you, get rid of them. You're out of here. This is not the game show. You're fired. You're not fired. Let these people do what they got to do to get this economy back to where it's supposed to be, to get the people at ease. That's what you paid them for. That's why you have people in your circle around you, surrounding you, all these different doctors, all these different people, because they have a certain job to do. So why would you take that job that you assigned them to as soon as they don't go with what you want, like they got it, like you the puppet master? No. Let them do their job so this thing could be done and over with. Every time, I tell you, every time I look, there's always something with him. Since he got in office. You think just because you threw out a stimulus package that was the smarts of somebody else, that everybody gonna rock with you now? And shy away from the real stuff that's going on, like the fact that you trying to fire a key part to this whole thing that's working diligently just to get everybody out of this situation that could have, like he said, been prevented, and we know it could have been prevented now. I think that's another thing. Mad that the people know the truth. See, you can only hide so much before the truth unfolds and reveals itself. You know what I mean? So it's like, all right, if it's not this, then what is it? You know what I mean? We have to say, you know what? We're putting a stop to the shenanigans. You got to stop it. We cannot have him running around just thinking he can do whatever he want to do. Yeah, you the president, but we as the people of the house and all these different things, there's power within that. So why should we have to bow down to what you're talking about if you're wrong? Wrong and right is right. And I feel like, you know what? Firing Fauci could be the big mistake. Because who are you going to get in there more knowledgeable than this man? Not even that. Yeah, more knowledgeable than this man. And then if you do get somebody in there knowledgeable, now I'm not going to say more knowledgeable just as much as Mr. Fauci, and he comes to you and says, okay, blah, blah, blah. And then you like, oh, no, I'm not going with that. You're going to fire him too? How many people are you going to fire until you got a death toll of 1 million, billion, trillion? You're going to keep firing and not have the answer. That's what's going to happen. You cannot go firing everybody. Let people do their jobs. Everybody that was in that cabinet, if you guys been following the whole presidency, he's done fired as soon as they rebelled against what they knew was wrong or did not agree with. I won't say, wrong / didn't agree with. Then you get the public announcement, fire this person, fire that person. He had turned his back on his own mama if he had to, just to save his own ass. And that's crazy. There's no loyalty in him. There's no loyalty. And that's a shame. So how are we supposed to trust you if you ain't loyal to the people around you who you put in position to send the message to us? That's crazy. Who is going to stand up and say, you know what? No, this is wrong. Now, you had it where Democrats try to get impeached. Republicans came back. No. He was taken out of that whole situation. But they impeached a guy that was doing his thing back in the day. Clinton was doing his thing back in the day. Yeah, he might have made a situation. He might have did that. But he ain't running around firing everybody in his cabinet. He wasn't doing none of that. He wasn't tweeting. We didn't have Twitter then, but he wasn't tweeting crazy mess. He wasn't blaring out crazy mess. He wasn't doing none of this. And he got impeached all over an incident. But you're able to do all these things time after time, proven things time after time, racist things time after time, and get away and get away and get away. But when does the get away? When do you say, you know what, enough is enough, as us being the people, say, you know what, we're tired? When only time we get is when election come, and it's coming. That karma that you throwing out there is coming. It's coming because you know what? You cannot keep doing this to people. This gentleman is working diligently every day to make sure he's here. And I knew it was something because Fauci did not show up at one of the press conferences, and that was what blew up. Say, oh, there must be. If it was up to him, he would have had us out by yesterday, running in these streets, thinking it was safe, and would have lost more than we already losing. New York is talking about the curve, and Cuomo is saying the curve is hell right now. If that's the curve, he didn't want to see it. If it's flat, he just said, if that's the curve, that's terrible. He losing a lot of people in the process of the curve. So how many more people? And that's only in New York City. We're not even talking about Louisiana, California, here where I'm at in Connecticut. We're not talking about none of these places. That's only one place that's losing a number of people by the thousands. This is crazy, and it has to be settled. But for him to try to go fire the man that's trying to ease the burden, that's crazy. Just because he didn't agree with what you were saying. You cannot run and be a dictator like that. You understand? You cannot do that. It does not work like that. That's the crazy part. All you want to do is run around here and talk about how you doing this and you doing that. But at the end of the day, you're really doing nothing but running your lips. This man is working diligently to try to curb the situation and get people back to normal. While you're sitting here trying to fire him, I don't understand. That kind of like really upset me. Because all he does is keep firing everybody that has a voice and an opinion. So where do we go from here? If you fire him, where do we go from here? Who's the next runner up? Who's willing to come and say, you know what? I know as soon as I go against this man, I'll be fired. As soon as I don't agree with him, as soon as whatever, I got a good chance of saying, you know what? I'm canceled. He has no respect for none of the people that he worked with. And it's proven. We see it. It's a fact. We've seen it over the last years he's been in office. We are the only way he can stop doing what he's doing. We have to make a change, an immediate change. In his words, fire. We may need to fire his ass. Get him out. Because you know what? If it keep going like this, there's no telling what the next cycle of our economy will look like. Because your important people are getting taken down viciously. It's crazy. Everybody that he ran, who was in his circle when he first started, if you notice, it was every other month somebody else. Soon as somebody leaked something, soon as somebody said something, it was get him out of here. How does that work? I don't get it. I'm leaving the whole thing alone. After that right there was the end of the coronavirus situation for me. I don't even want to deal with it no more. Because obviously he himself thinks it's a joke. It's a joke. Because months ago was like, oh, pussyfooted around. Oh, it ain't nothing. It ain't, the president of the United States, mind you. It ain't that serious. You got key people talking about, you need to get a hang of this. You need to do it now. You got to move now. But what was he worried about at that time? Who and what was he worried about at that time? Whatever it was that wasn't important at that time. But now we're dealing with something that we have no control over. And I don't want people to think that, you know what, next week is going to be fine. Next month is going to be fine. I don't feel confident in that. I don't feel confident in nothing that the media is putting out. I'm not going to say the media, excuse me, because the media is coming with the questions that he cannot answer. I don't feel comfortable with nothing he's talking about. If it's him coming out of his mouth, he can't even look in the camera properly when he's speaking to the people that he's talking to in the audience. Head always down, blah, 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 blah. No, look up, stand up like a man and say what it is. If you don't know, it's fine. It's fine not to know. That's why you pay these people that do know. The money you pay, the money they get is the reason why they get the money they get. Is because they know what the hell they talking about. So if you don't know what you're talking about, that's not your lane. Stay out of it. You ask them their opinion. They give you their opinion. They give you their thoughts. And you be quiet and you let them rock on that podium. Ain't no yes man over here. And that's the thing. He want everybody to be a yes man. Fauci is not a yes man. He keeping it real. He coming up there. He letting everybody know, look, it ain't like y'all think it is. It ain't going to be no Easter parties. It ain't going to be none of that. It's going to be stay in place. Stay in place until I give y'all the word that it's safe. Safe or safe enough. You know what I'm saying? And this man, now his neck on the line. But I wonder who's going to go. Now, you see what it is? Oh, hashtag fire Fauci. Who's gonna go? If anybody in that house go with that, they're crazy. They're crazy. And I'm saying it on camera. They're crazy. Why would you fire this man who's doing his job diligently? Doing his job. People know. That's why they rocking behind him, because they know he's being honest. He's not looking at us every day talking, telling us lies to keep our heads up and try to keep our heads high. He's like, no, you need to duck down a little bit. You need to stay in the house, mind your business, mind your kids right now. That's it. It is what it is. If we got to stay in the house until he figure it out, then we going to stay in the house until he figure it out. Because I don't feel safe letting my kids, myself, go back out into the world knowing that I got a possibility of one of us dying. Or 2 or 3 or 4. One family lost I think 4 or 5 people at once. That's crazy. That's when I knew this is real. This is not a joke. This is, and then you see how all the movies came out that should have probably came out, years ago. But they're out. We watching them now. And I'll be damned if they did not call it. They called it. They called it. They said, this is going to happen. But the scary part is we don't know when it's going to end, and we don't know what's next after this, because it's going to be a next. Now we know there's going to be a next because history says it. Research said it. You got people literally staying in labs, staying in doctors' offices, staying in all these places to watch how this virus stuff works. They do it day in and day out. So if you're going to listen to anybody, you're going to listen to them. It's like a car mechanic. If he telling you, you need to be careful because, your transmission about to go. Proven fact, your transmission go at 150,000 miles. And you sit there and ignore it. And then a couple months down the road, year down the road, your transmission go. He going to say, didn't I tell you that? He warned you. Forewarning. Everybody heard a forewarning. Bill Gates gave him the forewarning. What did he do? Brushed him off because he was too busy being happy being a celebrity now. A bigger celebrity. Because he had stars meeting with him that wasn't probably talking about nothing. I'm sorry. I'm with prison reform. I'm with all these things. But if my health is involved, I'd rather know about my health before I know about anything else. Because I'm sorry, that health situation going to save them people that's in prison. Now look, you got the prisons that's scared because people can die. Look at the population in the prisons. They're crazy. People are going to die there. That's a fact. They're all in close quarters. The environment is disgusting. People are going to die there. And look, it could have all been avoided. That's what pisses me off. The fact that you knew something ahead of time and didn't jump on it to save lives because you were too busy worried about the almighty dollar at the end of the day. That's really what it comes down to, because if how you brag about the military, oh, we have the finest military. And they said it. If they invested the money they invest in the military into this virus situation, we would have been straight. We would have been prepared. Soon as it touched down, they would have took care of it. That is a fact. That is a fact. But what happened? Didn't do it. So now I ask the question, where did that money go? Where did you allocate that money to? That money that's supposed to be for this individual thing didn't go there. So where's that money? I'm waiting. Where's that money? Not even. If it was that money, why didn't you add more to it? People take up donations and all these different things and all these organizations, all these funds and all these things for a whole bunch of different things. And I'm with that. But if it was the case, where's the funds for the major stuff like this? We got people that don't have health insurance that's sitting here dying, that's catching the virus and not knowing if they're going to live or die. This virus is out of control. And there's no handle. There's no handle. We're months behind the 8 ball, period. At least 3 to 4 months. So if you think 3 to 4 months back and then 3 to 4 months ahead, we looking at what? August, November, somewhere in that area possibly for this thing to subside at least. I'm not going to say completely go, subside at least before people could start regrouping and getting everything together. I don't know, man. When you got somebody like that willing to fire their whole crew and be the last man standing just to prove a point, is crazy. I'm not feeling that. In no way, shape, or form am I feeling that. That's crazy to me. Somebody in his camp that he looks up to, listen to, I don't know who that would be. But they need to get in his ear and say, yo, you fucking up. You messing up, man. We need Fauci. Fauci's the guy. Somebody needs to stand up and say, nah, this is the guy. You bugging. For him to get up there and tell everybody this is what it is, he ain't holding back nothing because he know how severe this is. When you know that this thing could possibly take you out too, what made me know this, it just hit the stars. My man was in Australia, Tom Hanks, him and his wife chilling. Bam, got the virus. Turn around, all these different stars getting the virus. This ain't no publicity stunt. If it is, they doing a damn good job at it. But I don't think people going to play with their lives like that. I don't think people going to say they got something that really don't have it. Now, there might be a case where people getting paid off to do stuff like that. I have no idea. But I know personally, I wouldn't do nothing like that. Not when you playing with people's lives. And I know it's real because people coming up here, man, in tears talking about how family members dying by the droves. That ain't no joke. So why would you fire somebody that's trying to stop this type of stuff from happening? You trying to fire the cook in the kitchen and think you could do it and all you are is a waiter. You bugging. You're not on his level. You cannot give out the information that he has, that he conceals, that his team conceals, the people he work with every day that know the ins and outs. There's no reason why people that's doing research should have to get funded by outside sources when you have a government that can allocate the money to them to have them. They got to beg and plead. Did you watch that? They got to beg and plead to get the money, like hoping and praying that they get the money for the research that's needed. Like, come on, that's crazy. Those should be the things that's taken care of first. Take care of your household first. You ain't never heard it? Take care of home first. How everybody gonna be safe? Trillions and trillions of people, billions of people, safe. We don't know what we up against right now. This is the invisible ghost right now. We don't know. And we still have to go out here every day to eat. You have to. If you ain't slaughtering your own pigs and cows or growing your own vegetables, you got to take your ass outside. Period. Mask, no mask, however got to come, you got to do it. And that's the scary part. But we got to take that chance because if we don't, our family starve. We starve, our family starve. So if starvation leads to death, the coronavirus leads to death, it's a double-edged sword. So I'm going to take my chance to go get that bread. Literally bread. This is crazy. It's just when you see stuff like this, all because he don't know how to be a sideline person. He don't know how to sit on the sideline and let the other person shine. And I hate to say it like that because it's not that type of party, but let them get their stuff off. Let them tell what they need to tell. Because it's important. It's key information that he does not know. He does not know anything about the medical field. Period. So let the people that know it do it. And I'm sure that's what took place with everybody else in his camp when everybody else started getting fired. They started talking about stuff that they knew that he did not know. He felt some type of way. He got rid of them. Or they did some stuff that he knew that he said he didn't know. He got rid of them. Just so the heat is off him. It's all about taking the heat off him. No, he don't want none of that. He don't want no smoke. He don't want no issues. He want to look good in the camera. He want to look good in the White House. That's all fine, but keep it real in the White House. Be honest in the White House. If you're going to take that position as a figurehead, as a leader of the country, you take that position with honor and dignity and you put your hand up. You swear by that. You did that. You swore that you was going to do all this and that. And you lied. You got up there, you lied. Period. You lied to the people. Some people going to say, you know what? No, he's all absolutely right. Some people going to say, you know what? Nah, he's out of here. That time is coming. But I hope it don't be a bigger disaster before that time comes. Before we could go out here and vote in hopefully a few more months. This is why, I hate to say it, but this is why it's important to vote. Because see what happened when people didn't vote last year? I'm an honest person. I did not vote last year because I didn't feel like neither candidate was worthy of my vote. But this is why it's important to vote. Because he sat there and won states that he should not have won. And then this is what we get. And we can't complain about it. We can't. I can't do shit about it. I can't complain. I can complain about how he's treating other people, but I can't complain about how he's really running the whole thing. Because I didn't take the time out to vote. But I didn't feel like neither one of them was qualified. In the sense of qualification, I mean, when would they get into office and do what they had to do? I don't mean, Clinton, she was qualified. She had the background to do something. But do I think she would have got in there and really made some changes happen? No. And I definitely didn't think he did, coming from his background. I'm sorry. You have to live this, breathe this, sleep this. You cannot just jump into presidency like that. And it shouldn't be like that. You should have a background, whether you were a general, a lawyer, was in the public, what is it called? The you know what I'm talking about. If you in the field of just lost my train of thought. I'm so mad I just lost my train of thought. But if you're in that field, then you should be able to run. And that's the only thing that you should be qualified. Just like when you go to do a job, they make sure you're qualified. They look at your resume, say, okay, you were a mechanic before here. You went to school for it. Oh yeah. All right. You qualify. You're a runner up. Not guaranteed to say you're going to get the job, but you're a runner up. That's what it should be like. Not, oh, you know what? You got money. You're a celebrity. Hey, come on. I don't know who gave him the wackest idea that, I want to be a president. He reached the highest peak. You can't go no higher than presidency. So it's like an aha moment to everybody. It's an aha moment to everybody. Forget what y'all talking about. I'm here now. I'm here. Ha, I won. You know what I'm saying? That's where that comes in. He won. He got us. So anybody that's not happy about what's going on right now and you didn't vote, you can't do nothing. You can't do nothing. You can't cry and complain. You can voice your opinion like I'm doing, but you can't say, oh, I shouldn't have voted for him, or I shouldn't have voted for her, or whatever the case may be. It's too late. Looking like, you know what, he got us. Because I know he didn't stand up to a lot of the things that people thought he was standing up to that did vote for him. I guarantee it. One thing about presidency, and one thing I noticed about people that's running, you got to take their words for face value. You don't know them. We don't know who these people are that we saying we're going to vote for. We only know what they tell us when they up there on the debate teams, going against each other. Like, even if you would have put Bernie in there, that's my boy. You would have put him in there. He could tell us whatever he want to tell us now until he get into office, because you got to remember, just because you're the president, you don't got the last say. The House runs the show, but you just a figurehead. But at the end of the day, and that's why if you notice he said hashtag, he got to go through